now time for The Viewing Room with Adam and Ethan.
Welcome to The Viewing Room, where we talk about films new and old, local and global. Adam, we're at a pretty special place today, hey?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Well, as you look around and notice behind us, we are at Dakota Dunes Casino and Resorts here in Whitecap, Saskatchewan. This is a pretty special episode.
Yeah, this is our first on-location, exciting, kind of new thing we're doing,
And here's the thing. This has been in the works for quite a while.
Yes.
It all started when I had this idea. Maybe it came to me in a dream. I don't know. It's very mystic, actually.
Yeah.
But I kind of decided that, hey, maybe we should go onto location and talk about a movie kind of like that location we're at. So we're at the casino. As you've probably seen by the title, we are doing Ocean's 11.
about the only choice. I mean, it's one of the best casino movies ever.
Yeah, you could make some argues about other movies, but I mean, come on. This kind of felt like the most natural
it's
progression.
iconic too, it's an iconic movie.
Yeah.
So.
Ocean's 11, released on December 11th, 2001. This is the same day the People's Republic of China joined the World Trade Organization.
Interesting.
Bit of a fun fact.
Interesting, yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah. So coming in with a budget of $85 million US, it did gross $450 million at the US box office. Kind of an interesting thing. I was thinking about this. $85 million US. Imagine what that would have cost to make now, not just with inflation, but like.
Yeah.
All these cast members took...
Well, that's the thing. It's like $85 million to do a 2-hour movie with this cast
Right.
is phenomenal.
A lot of the cast actually took pay cuts to help bring down the overall budget, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, and that really makes sense when you look at the passion that's in this movie. Like we always talk about it. You can tell when a movie was made for the love of making a movie and not just
absolutely,
because somebody wanted to make a movie, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of those movies where it really comes through.
Yeah, no, and I think the proof is in the pudding, right? Like you have all these awesome actors. Funny, we were talking about this. Matt Damon is just kind of so different in this movie to me because it's just like seeing young Stonewall Matt Damon has always been a thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some cast. I'm not going to go through all the cast. That's redundant.
I wrote down the whole cast. I took notes today.
Yeah,
this is.
That's how special this episode
right?
is this man took notes, which is very impressive. So, talk about our cast. We got George Clooney, who plays Danny Ocean.
Yeah.
We got Brad Pitt, who plays Rusty, and Matt Damon, who plays Linus. Those are our three main characters.
Casey Affleck is also in this.
Casey Affleck's in
brother.
it. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
And Don Cheadle. But he was uncredited in this one.
He was uncredited.
I was reading. He was uncredited in this one because there was like a dispute about who was going where in the title. He was credited in Oceans 12 and 13, but not in 11.
Yeah, very interesting how he came back for the sequels credited. But he was not, and that's a great fact that I had to share, but you beat me to the punch.
No. See what happens when I take notes.
I know, this is like throwing me off my game today. I'm like, whoa, I should have done double the preparation, I feel like. Okay, so let's talk about some characters, then we'll maybe talk through the synopsis.
I do have a fact about the guy who plays Yan as well.
Shoot it, go.
So he's a member or was a member of the Peking Acrobats, which is like a Chinese acrobat company, like basically like a circus sort of thing.
Cool.
And this was actually his film debut.
Really, good for him.
They were rehearsing and somebody spotted him and they were like, hey, you should audition for this movie.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's actually really awesome.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's like, I guess it could, I bet the contortionist stuff was real.
Oh,
right?
I bet. Like,
yeah.
It's like a guy doing his own stunts, but like really doing his own stunts.
That stuff, as cool as it is, it also kind of freaks me out in real life. Like just being able to do that with your body.
Yeah. Well, and apparently with this, I was reading up on this acrobat troupe or whatever. Because I'm like, well, what is that? Apparently, part of the philosophy with them is like they're supposed to, every generation of the troupe is supposed to improve on it. So they're always like pushing the envelope. Like,
cool.
So I don't know.
That's cool. Yeah. Touching my toes is a feat already for me, so I feel like that's very impressive.
I've never been able to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna read through the characters. Okay, so we have Tess. She is Danny's ex-wife. Okay, we have Terry. He owns the casino, and he's like currently dating / like engaged or whatever to Tess. We have Frank. who is a dealer who gets transferred over from wherever he is to wherever else they are. It's a Vegas, basically, to the Bellagio. We have Yen, the contortionist.
The amazing Yen.
Yeah. We have Basher, who's like the electrician, aka Don Cheadle.
Munitions expert.
Yeah.
Safecracker.
We have the twins, Virgil and I forget the other one's name.
It was Virgil and Turk.
Yeah. We have Ruben, who is like kind of like the funder. And we have Saul, who's like the decoy man.
The grifter.
Now, Saul is my favorite character in this whole film.
Saul's pretty good. I really like Ruben.
I did say, yeah.
Ruben is one of my favorites. And of course, you also got Livingston Dell as well.
Yes, that's one I didn't write down. Yes. Directed by Steven Soderbergh, who you might recognize as the person who directed Black Bag this year.
Yes.
Among many other things.
We will have an episode coming out in a couple weeks.
Real soon. We've already recorded that episode. Yeah. We're kind of just trying to make space in our little timeline. Yes. So, yeah, Black Bag was a very positive movie, and we're very, very excited to get that one on the road and going for you guys here. I flicked my mic, so I hope that it wasn't a negative sound. I'm going to read a synopsis here, and then we'll get into it.
Oh, now I want a McDonald's breakfast sandwich. I told you, these TVs, these massive TVs in front of us are going to be a distraction.
They're too big, too great. The advertising's too perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to be winning so much.
Hey, I mean, you never know. You never know. You've had pretty good luck at this casino, so maybe it's something in the air here, you know? Maybe it's this casino.
Yeah. A lot of hands of blackjack have gone down here. Family tradition, perhaps. Okay, Ocean's 11 film synopsis. Sorry.
I got that.
Yeah, definitely turn your phone on vibrate.
Just did, yeah. Dapper Danny Ocean is a man of action. Less than 24 hours into his parole from a New Jersey penitentiary, the wry, charismatic thief is already rolling out his next plan. He follows 3 rules. 1, do not hurt anybody. 2, do not steal from anyone who does not deserve it. And 3, play the game like you have nothing to lose. With these in mind, Danny works to orchestrate the most sophisticated, elaborate casino heist in history, targeting 3 establishments owned by the man who is dating his ex-wife.
Yes.
Bum, bum, bum. So yeah, we kind of start out. Danny is kind of talking to some parole officers before he's let out. There was actually an original scene here where he basically like is kind of sly with them, asks them how much they make.
I love the scene where he I love the scene where he's talking to his parole officer on the phone, and he's like, no sir, I haven't been getting into trouble. No, sir, I haven't been drinking. No, I wouldn't even dream of leaving the state.
Yeah.
The next scene, he's in Las Vegas. That's just the kind of writing in this. It's just snappy and and then well acted.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently, they wanted to make kind of more of George Clooney's character be even more sly, and so he was going to ask his parole officers how much they make and stuff like that. But apparently, if you ask a parole officer how much they make, you'll be denied parole. That's just like a thing. I don't know if it's a New Jersey thing or like a around the world thing, but apparently that's considered disrespectful enough to get your parole denied.
Hey, I mean, it kind of makes sense because that could almost be seen as like a lead-in to like trying to bribe them, which.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe if you paid them enough, they wouldn't even be tempted to take bribes. So
that is also probably a thing, but I don't know the salary of a parole officer.
I don't know either.
This would have been a very informative question, actually.
I'm just guessing that it's probably not that much.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I have zero idea. I've never been on parole.
But it is federally funded, so they probably got great government benefits.
That's very true.
I don't know, man. I'd take $60 a year just for a good pension. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm kind of excited about that. Okay. Danny starts assembling his 11 to take down the casino. Basically, this vault has 3 Las Vegas casinos that
feed into it.
Yes, pardon me. 3 Las Vegas casinos that feed into it, and basically they're going to rob it. They're going to take the money. They figure out that basically, if on a normal weekday it has $60 to $70 million in it, then hey.
On a weekend, it's got like 100.
Yeah.
And then on a fight night, it's got 160.
Exactly. So, on the big fight night coming up in 2 weeks, we're going to rob the Bellagio Casino vault.
Yes.
So, the team assembles a plan.
We're not. That sounded wrong. We're not planning to rob any casinos.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Okay. I'm just trying to think.
What was I gonna say? I wonder if that's a real thing. You know, they have to have enough money in the vault to cover every chip in play. I wonder if that's a real rule. I have no idea. It seems like something reasonable, like, because theoretically, I mean, not theoretically, but theoretically, you could lose every single chip. Like, the casino could lose every single chip in play if somebody somehow won. If something broke, somebody won everything. You could theoretically, if that makes sense, that you would have to have that money. But I don't know if that's a real thing or if they made it up for the purposes of the movie.
Yeah, like I'm not sure on those rules at all either.
I have no idea.
Part of it makes sense. The other part of it's though, like, hey, for a big win, can't you just tell them to come back in 2 weeks with
Yeah, I mean that does make sense too. But at the same time, there's probably rules around that. So
yeah, hard to say, right?
Yeah.
Besides, the IRS is there to take 40% anyways, right, when you win. So it's kind of like
not in
confusing.
Canada. Lottery winnings aren't taxed in Canada.
That is
in the
the
States
true
they
thing.
are, but
That
in
is
Canada
true.
they're not.
Yeah, something like 40%, right?
It's something crazy.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
It's an interesting thing here. They actually shot this movie on location in the three casinos: Bellagio, MGM Grand, and the Mirage. And again, they shot it mostly on location, just like we're shooting on location here,
Right.
at the Dakota Dunes Casino. So if you want to check out Dakota Dunes Casino or one of the other 7 or other 6 casinos across the province operated by SIGA, check out siga.ca.
Yeah.
They got lots of cool promotions running right now.
Yeah, big thank you to the SIGA people for letting us come here, use their space, very much appreciated. You know, in Ocean's 11, about a third of the Bellagio was used up by the production at any single time during like the length of production.
And that's crazy when you think
pretty
about like how much how much money they could potentially be losing, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, who knows how much of the 80 whatever million budget of the movie went to like paying, but like, I don't know.
Well, and not only that, a lot of the higher end crew actually stayed in like the fancy rooms and stuff like that in villas, which is pretty crazy to think about.
So I should put those towels back.
Yeah. So Ocean starts kind of recruiting his team. We kind of talked a little bit about the characters, but basically they're gonna hire an electrician to like shut the vault down. They're gonna hire someone who can like pocket lift, who played by Matt Damon, Linus's character. They need someone to fund it, so they go to Ruben. They need someone who's kind of inside, like counting cards, doing whatever. So they get Frank to transfer over from his casino. You know what I mean? We have Yen, contortionist, who they see at the circus, basically, or like the show, whatever, so that they can get someone to sneak into the vault, right? We have a decoy man played by Saul, who's basically going to try and trigger the vault in some capacity, or basically get something into the vault. You know, we have the security guy who's going to monitor all the cameras. So we have a whole team of people who are very like. There's a very specific set of skills.
Yes, very specific. I saw a video of Seth MacFarlane doing that monologue in Kermit's voice.
Oh man,
it was so funny.
Miss Piggy, I have a very specific set of skills with very highly intelligent people who are gonna. So basically, I'll just go through like how they actually rob the casino, because it's like kind of like they double the runtime, because they can like talk about how they're going to do it and then show them actually doing it.
But they also do like, and I really like when shows and movies do this, and they do it with a TV show, probably one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Leverage.
Yeah.
Where instead of like describing the plan and then executing it, they will often combine it where it's them describing the plan and they're like executing it at the same time. Like the visuals are them describing, like, you know, first we're gonna, you know, kill the power to the city, and then we're gonna, you know, do this, and it's showing them actually doing it as they voice over, which I really like. It just saves time, but it also kind of,
it feels more suave.
yeah, right.
Cool,
like it feels like they can anticipate everything that's gonna go, and they've planned it to a T.
It makes them look cool, but it also kind of shows how like, oh, maybe like these guys are all kind of experts in a way.
Yeah.
Even when things are going wrong, they're still doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Kind of right. You know, they bring up winning a lot in this movie, and I just wanted to talk, because a lot of the cast, like on their downtime, actually like gambled and did stuff like that, like we're gonna do after this episode. No. And so George Clooney actually lost 25 hands of blackjack in a row.
In a row.
25 in a row.
That's not. Oh wow. All
That's
right.
insane, man.
I think he needs to get better at blackjack.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rough. But that's a nice little fact that I have, and that just kind of makes me laugh every time I hear that one. Sure. And just
Casino robbed him instead of him robbing the casino.
okay. Basically, Danny starts to get distracted while they're kind of planning to rob this casino, though, because he finds his ex-wife Tess is at the casino, basically. Not only that, it's not really much of a coincidence. He basically realizes, hey, the person dating his ex-wife Tess actually owns this casino. So
He
it's
owns all three. Terry Bennett owns all three.
so he's a rich guy, maybe kind of a bit of a douche. But hold on a second.
Great tunes, must say, here at the Dakota Dunes Casino.
Yeah, we got some Rick Astley
in the
there.
background.
Yeah.
This would be a perfect opportunity for me to rickroll you guys, but I'm not going to do that because I'm a good person.
So basically, we know that Tess is dating this guy who owns all the casinos. So is it really about getting a big score, or is it kind of about getting back
Tell
at
me
this
it's not
guy?
about her. Tell me it's not about her.
Exactly. So
It's always about the women.
So we're not really sure if Danny is fully doing this as a result of his love, or if he actually just wants kind of money. And we don't know if he's going to jeopardize the team, which unfortunately he ends up jeopardizing them a bit. But
It's like when push comes to shove, are you going to take the girl or are you going to take the money?
exactly. And he wants to get both.
Yes.
But you know, as Brad Pitt explains to him, you can't have both.
Yeah, because if everything goes right, I don't have to choose. But
But I mean,
nothing ever goes right.
You're talking to Danny Ocean.
Yeah.
He can have both, right? It's come on, it's
That's
George
very true.
Clooney, right?
Yeah,
This dude was Batman.
Not the best Batman though.
Batman with nipples.
A very nipply Batman,
Yes.
as they say.
As producer Gary says.
As producer Gary maybe threw that line to me. So basically, they start explaining, they start going, they build a replica of the vault, essentially, in their warehouse. And they start by like triggering power, which turns off all the lasers and grids and stuff.
You know,
which
I
gives-
gotta jump in for a second.
Yeah.
This
You-
building the replica vault is one of my biggest problems with this movie, actually.
Really? It's one of my favorite scenes.
Oh no, I love it. I think it's great and it's genius. But it's one of my problems. They don't know what the inside of the vault looks like. Because they have
Blueprints. They have blueprints.
right, they have blueprints from the city, but that's not going to show them the actual window dressing. The blueprints are just going to be the basic structure. The blueprints are not going to show them, you know, there's 4 carts in the center that look like this. The floor has this on it. You know, there's you know this sort of like wall.
But they do mess up because they don't actually
Right,
get the replica.
They get it,
of
but
the,
they get it. The only thing they get is the floor plate that's missing. That's the only thing. Everything else is perfect, and I just find that a little bit of a stretch. Like, I don't see how they could know it so well. Like when
like
we
someone
haven't been-
rappelling 100 feet down an elevator shaft with a cord that snaps when you flick it.
Yeah, that's another
that
problem.
wasn't your biggest. That wasn't
Well-
your biggest problem with this movie.
No, that was a relatively minor problem, but it was. I don't know. That one definitely bugs me too.
That's funny. No, so as they start going, they basically cut the power, kind of freak everyone out while the fight night is going on. Whole bunch of different things is happening. Saul is getting a briefcase snuck in with his like family heirlooms or whatever they are, like little gems and stuff like that.
The contents of which is very important to me.
Yeah, yes. Yan is kind of hiding in like a lockbox kind of thing, so that's going to be brought into the vault by some employees. The twins are doing some shenanigans, pretending they forgot their key card,
Man,
so
the
they can get that in
twins
there.
in this, like the guys who play the twins, like what are their names? Casey Affleck and Scott Caan. Those
Yeah.
two have so much chemistry in this.
Yeah.
Like they pull off that like brother bickering sort of thing so well. Like it's
Exactly.
it's just beautiful how well they just roll into it and just keep it going. I don't know. It's just so good.
Yeah, Don Cheadle uses like EMP things to like, you know, distract everyone. Matt Damon is pretending to be from the gaming commission to basically like get the dealer Frank thrown out as a distraction.
Yes.
Because he's like been transferred and he was actually
Yes.
arrested before, like all that jazz.
Goddamn cracker.
Yeah, and all this stuff is kind of happening, but Danny gets thrown into a room because Terry gets someone to beat him up, basically,
Yeah.
because he thinks something fishy's going on, so he's just going to beat him up and shake him up a little bit, try to get the truth out. But the guy's actually on Danny's payroll, and so he doesn't actually.
Hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? Or how's the wife? She's pregnant again. That's such a good line, right?
Yeah.
Just a way of establishing that background relationship with like. We don't need to spend any more time than that one line on it, and you already know they have prior friendship.
Yeah, exactly. And they do a good job of establishing relationships in here. Like, obviously, it's very hard to fully flesh out characters in a 2-hour movie when there's 12 of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they do a good job kind of like entering in that realm where we kind of feel like they're all experts in their field and are connected to Danny,
and
the
they
main
all have
character.
unique personalities too.
Yes.
Like they've created 12 unique personalities here, and they're all memorable. Like well, we'll say 11 because the twins are basically the same. But
yeah, exactly. They're all unique or do something in their own way, right? Saul is kind of like checking out the bag, trying to see how it gets down there, and then he has a heart attack basically, and the twins come as paramedics and take him away. Really awesome costume changes.
And Brad Pitt is the doctor. Yeah. Did somebody call for a doctor?
Yeah, Brad Pitt comes there as a little doctor. Bunch of cool stuff like that. Doesn't Saul play a doctor in the second movie? I'm pretty sure he does.
He
or
does.
some variation of a surgeon
like that,
or something. Yeah. And I was just thinking about this, and I'm going to just bring it in here now. There is absurd fan fiction on this movie.
There is?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
I was going through Letterboxd reviews because I was like, I wonder what people are saying. And all of them were like, oh wow, curse this movie for making me like white guys so much, and like random things like that, and like the way George Clooney and Brad Pitt look at each other in the eyes is so cute. All this thing. So I started looking. I went on Google, had socks on, it was fine. Anyways, I'm like looking at my computer and I like close my door because I'm like, I cannot let my family see this, right? Like, but like towards the log.
Yeah.
There is like a whole community. Like, and people still write fan fiction on Ocean's 11 today. Dude. Like it's bad.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's kind of good. Yeah. I'm on chapter 4 right now. It's pretty good. No, dude. But like, for some reason, there is such a large community just dedicated to making these absurd, wacky, crazy fan fictions of Matt Damon and Brad Pitt and George Clooney doing crazy things.
Yeah. Interesting.
Actually, the number one Letterboxd comment is called the ultimate male fantasy movie.
No, I would not say that it is the ultimate male fantasy. I mean, as much as it might not be like, pulling off a crazy heist and stealing the guy's girl at the same time,
That has a little bit of
there's a little bit of that fantasy to there,
yeah.
But we'll be
exactly.
honest, let's be honest.
Which is actually how I describe tax season.
Yeah, well, that was your tax season. Mine was about almost opposite of yours, actually.
Yeah, Mr. Owing Money. Oof. Couldn't be me. No. I thought I was. Okay, we're done with that.
We don't need to talk about taxes.
It's too sad. So yeah, George Clooney kind of escapes the room because he's not actually being like beat up, and he helps rappel down the side of the vault, and basically they break in where Yen is, and Yen's kind of open the door from the other side essentially, and they turn off the lasers.
They got to put the bombs on either side of the door.
Yeah.
And then I love this detail with the detonator. They click it, it's like the moment 3, 2, 1, click.
They didn't put the batteries in.
Click. Click, and it's like they're like, what's going on?
You did that really? You did that really well.
It's like, what about? Did you bring batteries? He's like, oh, God damn it. And anyway, and it's just like it's like that's so realistic that could just happen.
Overlooked, right?
Overlooked little things, but then that also gives Yen the time to get his hand unstuck because they don't know, and if they'd blown it, then yeah.
Right. Well, here's the thing too. Like, we talk about this all the time, especially in the film industry, right? Where you plan. I remember when we were in media school, we were the first people to shoot, and we'd shot a couple days early because we were so excited, ready to go. We had all our camera ready, we storyboarded, everything was ahead of schedule. It was amazing.
Yep.
Day of, we're at my house, we're shooting, and we forgot to bring the SD cards.
Yep.
A fundamental part that you can't shoot without. but just a tiny little thing that we
At least
overlooked
you were
after
still in the
all of
city.
that.
You remember when we were shooting my final project.
Oh, yeah.
And we drove about half hour out of the city to a paintball range, and we had this thing for 2 afternoons. And it was costing me, like they gave me a good deal, but it was still costing me because I was a broke high school student. And I forgot the screw that holds the camera on the gimbal. And for those of you who don't know what a gimbal is, it's just like a stabilizer that makes your camera shots all look nice and smooth. And so we decided, well, we're here. We're not wasting another hour driving back and forth to get a screw. So we tried to shoot just handheld shots and as much static as we could. And I think I used 30 seconds of footage from that day.
Yeah, but we
And
did
so
have fun playing airsoft.
It was fun. I'll give it to you. It was a fun time on set, but little things like that, you don't like you say, you don't think about it, but it can make or break a day. A literal screw that big.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a tough thing, right?
And batteries. And then when they finally get in that line there too, again, this is just the snappy writing. There's a 95-pound Chinese man on the other side of this door with $160 million, you know? It's just snappy, you know?
This is really good. No, and it's just, for me, it's one of those things, right? That's like the most realistic detail. Not the Chinese man part, but like
the batteries. It's like, can you imagine if that was what foiled their plan? And then Ocean's 12 was the same movie, but they remembered the batteries this time.
yeah. They're like, it's the next day. Yeah. No, it's funny because that just super realistic works for me.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah. So basically, they blow open the vault. They get all the money out. A bunch of things happen. But things aren't really as they seem, right?
Yeah.
Because as we're looking at the security footage, being Terry, like the casino owner, he's kind of realized that like, oh, hey, they're taking all this money out, but they haven't taken all of it. They've only taken half. And basically he gets a call from Brad Pitt's character saying like, hey, by the way, if you don't let us take this all out, we're basically gonna blow it up.
Yeah, we're gonna take
up.
80, and we're gonna leave the other half, like 80 million here, booby trapped. And if you so much as touch us or anything, or we think we're gonna blow that. And so you can either lose 160 million publicly or 80 million quietly.
Yeah, exactly what he says.
Yeah.
Very fun, very like kind of fun line there.
It's clever too, you know, like you know.
Yeah, and basically the Terry agrees, but secretly calls the SWAT team. SWAT team comes and kind of like extracts the vault. They go in there and they find that like, oh wait, hold on a second, everything's kind of still in order here until it explodes. A bunch of things happen, and so the SWAT team extracts all the money so that no one can take it back to the SWAT van. But while this is happening, like there's a bunch of other money from that supposedly was in the vault, and like the original $80 million, and it's going to the airport. But it's all rigged to blow, and it's not even money. It's actually flyers for strippers.
Yeah.
And they kind of realize, wait, hold on a second. This isn't the actual footage. So they realize that the footage was hijacked essentially and recreated in the vault. And the SWAT team,
because they noticed it.
Ocean's
That's
11
that little detail. They missed the floor plate because it was installed on Tuesday.
Yes, exactly. So very interesting thing to have a floor plate, first of all, installed in the casino is such a random thing.
In the vault,
like in the vault.
right?
Like, the only person who sees that is like the people, the managers who go down there to deposit the money, which is funny. But anyways, we do kind of see like, this ain't great. And the SWAT team turns out to be Ocean's 11 teams. Yeah. They head out and kind of run off with the money and kind of end off with a fountain scene where everyone kind of is silhouetted. Super awesome shot at the fountains there. I went to Vegas last summer. I love that place. And it's kind of like, hey, hold on a second. This is like the nicest, most sweet moment of the whole film for me. And they all leave quietly and just kind of like part ways one last time until the sequel, right? And that was actually the very last thing they shot of the whole production. And apparently it was really sad for a lot of people. Which obviously,
see that,
when you film something for a couple months, right, you kind of get a little family going, right? You're living with them.
It sounds like this one was a very close-knit, like they wanted to be there and it was a fun time.
Lots of chemistry between the actors who would hang out and talk. It's awesome to see kind of stuff like that, right? Carl Reiner is actually like my favorite character in this film, like Saul, and a lot of them would listen to stories because he's obviously the oldest guy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Carl did pass away, I think 4 years ago,
Yeah,
5 years
a couple
ago,
years ago.
something like that, unfortunately. But he lived a long life, super old, and he had some really great stories, obviously some great movies. So it was really great to see him like do a really great job in this film. It's just such an awesome time, right? And
it's a nice ending to the movie, and then the very final scene there where Danny Ocean finally gets out of prison again after parole.
He was in violation of his parole,
obviously. So he gets out of prison again, and Tess is waiting for him with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, because basically George Clooney exposes that, like, he would give up Tess for $80 million, basically, even though he has way more money than that, and it's only like a little dent in his like overall funds.
Yes.
And he would have insurance anyways. So that part doesn't make super sense to me anyways, because a lot of these guys would just have insurance for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, even Tess even mentions it in the opening. She's like, these guys have insurance. They get it back. They get back what they lost, but I didn't get back what I lost. I get back the 5 years that I lost or whatever.
Right. So I don't even know why he would be like, yeah, if you give that $80 million back, I'll give up Tess. It's like what? Like, brother, just file it. Actually, you know what? Insurance is really tough to go through sometimes. So you know what? I agree. No.
But no, I mean it's a nice ending to the movie, and I don't know.
Yeah, they drive off, but the bodyguards of Terry's are following them. So bum bum bum.
Bum, bum. That's the opening of Ocean's 12. Anyway, we'll get into those. It's a nice ending. Before we get into the kind of the analysis of the movie here, let's take a minute to hear about what's going on at Sega.
Let's do it.
Hey, Ethan. What are you doing this Saturday?
Well, Adam, I'm glad you asked. I'm actually going to be going to one of Sega's 7 casinos across the province to reveal your reward mystery prize draws.
Well, that sounds pretty sweet. What is it?
Well, basically, there's a draw every Saturday, 5 of them actually, from now until the end of May.
Okay, how do I get in on it?
All you got to do is take your little rewards card, mine's green, super shiny, pretty awesome, and swipe it at the kiosk.
Okay, I don't have one of those, though.
Okay, well, don't worry. It takes 2 minutes, plus it's completely free.
Oh. Okay, well, let's finish this up so I can go get one and get some prizes.
19 plus, please play responsibly.
Another thing that's kind of interesting is Steven Soderbergh wanted this movie to be black and white.
You know why?
Kind of interesting.
This leads into this movie is based in part on a movie from the 60s by the same name. Yep. And it was Frank Sinatra playing Danny Ocean in the Rat Pack,
That's the only character's name that's the same, by the way, is Danny Ocean.
And that's the thing. So I was like looking up, because I haven't seen that original one, and so I was looking up the general plot of it, and it's not really the same. So with the one from the 60s, it's Frank Sinatra playing Danny Ocean, and he gets 11 of his old war buddies together, and they rob 5 Vegas casinos on New Year's Eve in one night. And I mean, like, the only elements that are the same is Danny Ocean getting a crew of 11 people and robbing casinos in Vegas. Those are about the 3 elements that are just based on the overall plot that are continuous. And I don't like it. That's a thing that I have a problem with, especially nowadays when they're doing remakes of everything. It seems like all your new movies are just remakes of older movies. And when they don't remake it, which they almost ever do, it's just marketing, really. It's just a marketing boost because you can't come up with a story of your own that's good. That's my problem with it. It's like, don't call this Ocean's 11 then. Rename him from Danny Ocean. You can still tell the same story, but just don't name it Ocean's 11, because now people are going to go, oh, Ocean's 11. Now, in this case, probably not, because I don't think most people know the 60s version of this movie. But it's just kind of the principle.
They know about it, but they haven't, like...
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, it's not a huge draw. But, like, in modern days, like, I think it happens more,
Yeah, no, and it's very interesting to see how many renditions of this movie there are. Like, actually, when you search up Ocean's 11, the first thing that happens is when they did the all-female one, and that's the first one that pops up. And then Ocean's 11, then Ocean's 12, even though you typed in Ocean's 11, and then the original, which is super weird when you type it in, which is like crazy.
I don't know. I haven't seen the female one, so I can't comment on that one.
No, like, it's just interesting to see all the renditions, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see here. We're talking about it being black and white, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I can see why, if he's trying to keep some of the elements from the first one, that's why he'd want it black and white, like bringing that back.
Sure. And does that help reduce costs? It might help reduce costs, eh?
I mean, are you actually going to shoot it in black and white, or are you just going to put it on a black and white
film,
filter?
right?
Like he actually wanted to put it on film?
Well, I think it was film, wasn't it?
I don't know.
That's what I thought it was.
2001, you're kind of in that transition era there. It could have been digital, it could have been film.
Yeah, I want to say it was film. I want to say it was film because they do that really choppy slow-mo stuff,
That's
which
true,
to me
yeah.
screams film.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah,
That just seems like
it
any
looks
film.
pretty good for film, actually. Like, you know, you could fool me.
Yeah, but I mean, we're probably also watching, I guess, like a HD version, like kind of like maybe redid a little bit for.
Yeah, but you can't. That's like, you know, when you can make a video from the 1950s 4K, but it still doesn't look.
Yeah,
4K.
yeah, I guess
you know what I
that's
mean?
That is true.
Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not adding any more information. You're just, instead of 1 pixel, it's the same pixel becomes 4 pixels of the same color.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I
guess
mean?
that is fair. Yeah, technically, you're kind of getting washed out a little bit on some of the details for
You're not
larger
gaining
image,
anything,
right?
you know. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, an interesting fact too. Bellagio let the actual crew use not like real security footage, but like tap into their security like cameras
cool.
and stuff to get footage
That's
from there,
cool.
like, which I think is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's clever.
I think that's like a nice little way of like making it look kind of realistic. While you put your extras in somewhere and do kind of that stuff, kind of has a real vibe. And I think that's a really awesome thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things?
I have a couple things.
Yeah.
Continuity errors. There's one in particular, and I've noticed this the last 2 times I've watched this movie, because I've watched this movie a lot. The scene where Saul is getting his briefcase put in the vault, and they're watching on the cameras. The security guy, or the head of the security casino manager, Mr. Walsh, is there with Saul. You know, okay, your briefcase is being put in, and at the same time, Matt Damon is running his NGC scam on Benedict with throwing Frank out of the casino. And the guy throwing Frank out of the casino is Mr. Walsh, the casino manager. So he's in 2 places at the same time. So that's one thing that it's kind of obvious, you know. And I didn't notice it the first couple times I watched it, but once you've watched it 2 or 3 times, you start to notice little things like that. Yeah. And that's just like, it's so good. And then you notice something like that. And there's other little things like that. There's that one, and then the other one that I noticed was, you know, when they pull the switch in the vault, where they have the normal bags of money, and then they have the black bags with the X on them that are filled with the more stripper flyers that they leave in the vault to be blown up.
Yeah.
How did they get those in there?
I'm not sure.
They never showed, because when SWAT came in, they weren't carrying them, and they never took them in when they were dropping down the elevator shaft. So how did and it didn't go in with Yen. So how did they get those in there?
Well, didn't they just do that in the recreation then?
No, because remember, that was what they actually left in the vault, because they took the full 160 million out as SWAT guys, and they left that in the vault to blow.
Yeah, but that was the recorded one.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, I thought it was the recorded
No,
version.
because remember at the very end, he walks in to the vault, and because at the same time that they hijack the van, or the van blows up, and he's like,
like when Terry realizes that there's
money.
no floor panel.
And then he goes into the casino. He's like, yeah, there's no money here either. It's just flyers for strippers.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
so I don't know. It's just other little. Sure. It's just little things like that. Like, you know.
There's more little ones though. Like when you think about it, because like the fountain scene, there's like weird editing there. Sometimes where a character turns around and then it cuts back to a different angle, and then they actually turn around there.
And I mean, even with Brad Pitt, who's always eating in this movie. That's the other thing, is there's times where like his food placement or his stuff isn't the same every time, you know, like in one angle he's got, you know, he's just taking a bite, and then the next angle he's not, or something like that, you know, like it's just little things. And is it a big deal? Not really, but like caring attention to detail, you know?
Yeah, and I think there is a little care in this movie, but it is unfortunate that little things like that slip the cracks. But I mean, you kind of have to really look for them. I
for sure. Like I said,
glaringly obvious or bad.
That's not a first or even a second watch thing. That's like, you know, third, fourth, fifth watch.
Yeah. No, this movie for me is very well done. The snappy dialogue is a big thing for me.
Chemistry with the actors.
Chemistry feels good.
Oh, it's just
The only thing I don't really love is Don Cheadle's accent. I wasn't like a huge fan of that.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but personally, I find it entertaining.
It's funny.
It's funny, but I can see why people don't.
It just feels oddly comedic for what the actual role is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just sort of, Cockney, but it leads to some funny moments when he's like,
Sure.
Unless, you got a whatever wearing Bonnie or whatever.
Oh, brother,
like,
unless you got the big bang Bonnie, you're gonna...
wearing Bonnie. And he's like, Barney?
Yeah.
Bonnie Trouble. Or Bonnie Rubble, whatever, Trouble. It's like...
He wanted to change his accent for the sequels, but his managers wouldn't let him. Apparently.
He does it pretty well, actually.
I don't think it's like terrible. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I like Don Cheadle. I'm like, hey, come on, man. Like, your normal voice is like actually like pretty great.
Yeah,
so
right?
so what are we doing? Like, to me, that's like I don't know, Morgan Freeman just coming on, and all of a sudden he's trying to do an Irish impression.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're Morgan Freeman. Just be Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's funny. This movie's clean. It's clever. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It gives me goosebumps sometimes, like when I think of the dialogue and stuff like that, and how snappy it is, and how active the world feels almost. Like every scene, there's movement, things are happening, and I don't know, I like it. I like how it feels like. We kind of talked about how in Black Bag there's a lot of that handoff aspect, and I feel like this is like Steven Soderbergh's style, where like a lot of it is always going, right? We're flowing and stuff like that, and there's no time for necessarily like being static, right? And so. A lot of times you look at that and you're like, okay, maybe the stakes are a little low, right? Because he's like doesn't want any of the characters to get hurt. But they do a decent job like establishing stakes when they show how many times casinos have failed to been robbed in the past,
That's
right?
True.
Right?
Yeah,
So
he's like, the closest, and last guy tasted fresh oxygen, and then take my breath away.
Yes, exactly. You know what? Like for me, that's pretty much all I have, right?
Yeah, I've got a few more things. Like the just a couple things. The music in this, again, it feels very similar to the TV show I like, Leverage, which came after this. So it's but still, it's just it's so like kind of sly and like it really helps sell the plotting and the scheming. It's not like grand and cinematic. It's just kind of I don't know how to describe it. It just really helps sell the movie overall.
Yes. Pacing
is really good. It's a 2-hour movie, and at no point are you like, oh my god, this is a long movie. It's just, it flows, and this is the same thing with the writing. The writing really helps that. The acting is good.
I had a complaint.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the old-timey, choppy slow motion. I'm very happy that after like, I said this yesterday, after Sam Raimi's second Spider-Man movie, we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Just slow motion's fine, but like the really choppy slow motion where the film is faded like that and weird and it's just awkward to me.
That's fair.
I've never liked the way that's looked. No matter how stylistic you try to make it in any movie, I've just never been a fan of that. If you're gonna do slow motion, like get the frame rate up, do something. But like I know it's hard to do that stuff with film and whatnot, and it's very stylistic and cool. But I don't know. I've never been a personal fan of that stuff, and it's just been one of those things where even when I saw it last night in the train station when like they're there, I'm like guys, this is not the way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
The other things I was going to bring up is the lighting. Like it's the hotel always has kind of sort of a yellow tinge to it. And it just kind of almost gives us a more of an old-timey vibe, which again, I can see why if he couldn't go black and white or they wouldn't let him go black and white, he would try and still go for that. And it does feel like a bit of a throwback almost, like just some of the way they act and talk and just kind of everything just feels like a little bit of a throwback.
It's true to the source, right? Like I said, I've walked through so many of those casinos in Vegas when I was there, and went to the Bellagio and the Rolex stores and stuff, the things I couldn't afford or even think about going into, right? Did all those things, seen the fountain shows. They're all very yellow. And like the one hotel, right, they have all those yellow light bulbs at the top, right?
I think it's probably from all the smoking, if we're being honest, right? Like just everything just got stained yellow, right? Like when they built it, it was probably white.
It used to be blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh man. Okay, well, I mean, that's all I have.
Yeah, one more thing that I had. See, I took notes and now I have a lot to talk about.
This is most impressive.
I kind of feel bad for Benedict in a way. Okay. Slightly. And the movie tries its best to make you not feel bad for him. You know, but at the same time,
You mean Terry?
yeah, Terry Benedict.
Yeah, sorry. I've been calling him Terry, so just
Yeah.
like the owner of the casino. Yeah.
As much as he is the bad guy in the movie, he hasn't done anything wrong. He owns 3 legitimate casinos. He's made his fortune legitimately, or mostly legitimately. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the cliches about business, but we have no evidence that he's done anything illegal.
Sure.
And this dude comes along and takes his girlfriend away and steals $160 million from him.
Yep.
And all he did was try and stop him. I mean, can you really blame the guy for being mad?
No, I agree. I like.
You know, and they having like Tess be part of the story really helps the audience feel more on Danny Ocean's side. But like when you really stop and think about it, who's the bad guy in this story?
Yeah.
You know?
No, for sure. I think they also try to do it. They try and make it a thing where like, okay, well, he would give up Tess for money, so that makes him even more
Yeah, and see, they do
evil.
little things like that, or like, you know, like run and hide, loser, run and hide, or whatever, you know, like, so there's certain things, that's what I mean, they try and
His
spin
philosophy,
it.
though, does say like he only steals from people who deserve it. So maybe that's where the water's cloudy.
Yeah, the Robin Hood mentality.
Because
is-
maybe he's like, oh, hey, like, maybe he thinks this guy deserves it, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
you
that's
know what
true.
I mean?
But
That's
still.
kind of where some of the more contention comes with Brad
Yeah.
Pitt. But
Yeah. Two more favorite moments. Don Cheadle in the hotel watching the Desert Inn fall on TV.
Well, it's falling
which is a
behind
real
him,
thing,
yeah.
but you can see him behind that. There's something he's like, and then
Yeah.
you can see the hotel falling in the background. That's so
really funny.
good. And then also the one line with Ruben when they have that first meeting at his house. And then Matt Damon's character is just kind of sitting off to the side. And he's like, "Hey, you're Bobby Caldwell's kid." Yeah, and there's a little bit of small talk. He's like, "That's nice. Get in the goddamn house." You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
line is just like,
yeah, we really like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's cracked us up a bit. Yeah. That's kind of all I have, man.
I'm out of notes now.
Again, we just want to say a huge, massive thank you to the Dakota Dunes Casino and Resort for having us here filming. It's been an incredible episode, and thank you so much to Sega for letting us come here, make a ruckus, and just have a good time. So thank you. It means a lot that we were able to do this on location, and hopefully we can make this a bit of a tradition, right? So
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll come back for Oceans 12 and 13.
Yes,
We,
exactly. Now, before we go play some slots, let's give it our final rating.
Yes. 8.8.
8.8. Well, part of me wanted to give it 11. No, I'm joking.
Hey, that's clever. That's clever.
It's an 8 for me. It's an 8 for me.
An 8?
I think it's
Yeah.
a really solid movie that flows super well. Maybe an 8.5 even, but I don't know. I'll have to decide in the car on the way back. But I don't know, man. Let's go play some slots.
Let's go play some slots.
You just watched The Viewing Room. You guys have a fantastic day. We do have an Instagram at @theviewingroom_. Thank you again to Sega and Dakota Dunes Casino and Resort for having us out here.
All right, let's go.